am the IT for Huguenot College in Wellington in South Africa. And at the moment, we primarily use Moodle for online teaching, and then also Microsoft Office 365 suite.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. And for accounting, for the reporting, do you use some system or?
Yes, they use Pastel at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think it's a Sage product, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I understand. And for the, do you guys maybe also use Google Classroom?
No, not Google Classroom. At the moment, we use a lot of Zoom sessions,
Mm-hmm.
incorporated into the Moodle platform.
Okay, all right, I understand. All right, so I will share a presentation. So I think maybe it's just better if we keep questions towards the end. So I will just run through it. I'll try to be as concise as possible. And then if you have questions, perhaps if you could maybe type them up in the chat window or ask them at the end of the presentation. Would that be fine?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. All right, so I'm Anna and I'm from the Rise SA team. And for the past 4 years, actually more than 4 years, we've been working with education providers in South Africa. So the solutions that we offer, you know, all of them are cloud-based and they are agile, you know, in terms of their functionality and accessibility and also ability to customize them on the user side and also on the development side. And they're also, you know, available on mobile. So today, I would like just to share with you our use cases. So for the past few years, we have been working quite closely with local schools, you know, both government and independent schools, primary, high schools, even some secondary schools. And how did it start? So a primary school approached us as they knew that, you know, we can develop. They approached our accountant and they asked if we can assist them. The challenge was that they had too many complicated systems, and that would result in not having enough time in the day to finish all the tasks, and also not having correct information for parents and the SGB as a result of that. So it started with us, you know, developing the learner data module towards their specific requirements. The next challenge was basically how to link the learner data module with accounting. So that's what we've done. We've linked it up, and now schools can see immediately what parents have paid so far and what they still owe. The next challenge was the departmental report. So, you know, every province has its own structure, but in the case of the Western Cape department, they require a quarterly report. Is called O43 form. And what we've done is we've developed that and integrated this report with accounting and with the learner data module. It basically saves a lot of time for schools because now they don't need to do manual capturing in Excel and spend a lot of time on that. Now, as they work in accounting, as they sign transactions, you know, as they do capturing, the things will get automatically pulled into this departmental report. The next challenge was, you know, how to invoice all learners at once. because invoicing one by one takes a lot of time. And if a school or college has a lot of learners, this can be quite time consuming. So we have developed a batch invoicing tool, and it allows schools to invoice either all at once, or you can also do per class or per grade. It's completely up to the education provider how they want to invoice their learners, I mean their parents. The next thing was the bank. So the system also allows a direct link with the 4 major banks of South Africa. So you don't need to you don't need to worry about uploading your statements. You can just link directly with the bank. But of course, if you need to, the CSV statement can also be imported into the system. And then basically what has happened is that, once the invoices have been issued, schools can then generate statements and email them directly from the system. This has basically allowed them to get more school fees and also to automate the whole process of informing parents, how much they owe and what they still need to pay. The reporting functionality is also part of the system. So AR, aging report, apologies, I see I made a typo here. It should say aging report, customer ledger, as well as budget planned versus actual. And then also, communicating with parents is another challenge because it takes a lot of time and also paper for schools and colleges to get it out. So what we've done, we've developed a mobile app so that schools can inform parents of everything that's happening. And we have also integrated it with the accounting, but I will show you this in a bit. And finally, we have also developed the behavior management module, basically to enable, schools and colleges to create incidents and inform parents about them directly from the app or from the server version of the system. It's up to the schools. And the other challenge was the enrollments. So currently, a lot of education providers, they are inundated with lots of paper capturing and manual capturing, and this, can result in quite a few errors. So, based on education providers' feedback, we basically integrated Google Spreadsheets with our system so that, first of all, admissions and enrollments can take place via Google Forms with the further import of information via Google Spreadsheets. And finally, the marks. So marks is quite a big, admin task for a lot of education providers. So for the past 6 months, we have been developing this module. It entails quite a bit of, quite a lot of requirements that need to be accounted for in terms of reporting, generating marks, generating progress reports. And ultimately, the goal is to email progress reports directly or also to post them onto the communicator. So if we talk about, the tangible outcomes, so schools save at least 15 hours per term with the automated departmental report. Some schools, have even informed us that because the system assists them so much with their daily tasks, they now decided they're going to stay, continue working at the school, which was not the case before, working on the system, on the RISE system. And of course, it makes it easier, for your finance officers and bursars to report and also provide all the information to the stakeholders. So the stakeholders are at least twice, more satisfied in terms of real-time reports, the management of all the income and expenses and so on. And also schools can save a lot of money in terms of, not having 3 or 4 disjointed systems, but having everything on one system. Are there maybe questions at this stage? Is everything?
Not from my side. I'm fine, thank you.
You're fine. All right, no problem. Okay, that's great. Okay, the next use case is, let me just go back. So the next use case is Cyber Ignition Academy. So Cyber Ignition Academy, it's a for-profit company that is part of the Cyber Business School. They have quite an interesting, model. So they empower students from, how can I put it, from, problematic communities, from disadvantaged backgrounds. And what they do, they basically charge students in accordance with their parents' income bracket. And then the way it works is they get the funding from corporate sponsors, as well as international sponsors and so on. So it allows, those learners and those students to do the higher education degree, even if they can't afford it, essentially. That's what it is about. So for Cyber Ignition Academy, they, before, basically approaching us, they were using a lot of Google Spreadsheets. And the challenge was that it would take a lot of time to populate everything. The errors would creep in, big workload, and it needed to be collated and developed into one basically data structure. So that's the input, that is what was basically at that stage the case in terms of their learner management, the Google Classroom, all the mocks. So they were using the Google Classroom. So students would put up their assignments onto the Google Classroom. They had various, disjointed spreadsheets. So Google spreadsheets with mark calculations. And they also had learner information separately. And as I've mentioned, it was time consuming, and yeah, a lot of errors would happen. And of course, it was quite intense in terms of resources on the staff members side. So what we've done, we've basically developed an integration with the Google Spreadsheets. So it was 2-point integration, Google Spreadsheets, and then also another integration with the Google Classroom, as well as bringing it all together in terms of the mark calculations, and basically collating it in one proper data structure. And the result is that that is the feedback from the operations manager. So he says it's an excellent way to integrate our data set that we use from Google Classroom, and it's able to pull through all of the mocks and make them into averages. So we can see overall competency of the qualification, or we can see how they've done individually on unit standards. It's all in one place, and not having to go and look under a particular folder in our drives to look for particular spreadsheets for particular cohorts. All I have to do is to click on the class, and I can drill down even down to a particular learner. So that was the feedback. So that was basically the second use case. And finally, what I wanted to touch base on is the ERP system. So it's OneDrive, and it's an affordable and customizable ERP system. Let me just go back. So the Cyber Business School is currently using it. And prior to that, they were using the desktop version of Sage Pastel. And the challenge was, to be able to basically become cloud-based, considering all the challenges of our time and the COVID-19 and all the lockdowns, and also be able to have proper reporting in terms of business units, and have more ability to report on the profitability and other expenses and income of various branches and also business units. And as you can see, the inventory was quite extensive as well. So the asset management module was also quite important for them. So just to briefly give you an overview, OneDrive, it's an ERP system, but having said that, it's done for small to medium-sized enterprises, and it allows companies to do multi-company reporting. So you don't have to have several info bases. You can actually report on several entities from one place. You can also do your marketing and customer relationship management. So there is a proper CRM module. The sales module is also quite extensive, as well as your supply management or purchases, the cash management, with all the reports and the financial analysis, as well as the bank stream. And this is just in a bit more detail. So as I've said, you can, basically manage all your prices, discounts, quotations, and you can also issue sales and tax invoices. You can keep track of your suppliers and purchase prices, as well as invoice discounts. As I've mentioned, also the marketing and the CRM module and other modules as well, such as the service management, production, if it's obviously applicable, inventory and warehouse, and finance management. So even though you see there is production and inventory, as well as warehouse, it works for both, basically sectors. It works for service-based industries and also for manufacturing-based companies or enterprises. And one of their requirements, they wanted, so the CIBA Business School, they wanted us to develop the procurement process. This is just a flow diagram just to show you just an overview of their process, how it works. And basically this diagram we have then developed in our system, with various documents and various data structures to make sure that it works towards their requirements. And so, yes, so this is just something that I wanted to share with you quickly. All right. So this is just feedback from their finance officer and from their system architect in terms of the system. So the feedback from the system architect is that, the support has been great, very impressed with the responsiveness of our developer. And, the feedback from the finance officer is that now they can work from anywhere. And also the fact that they can customize their financial reports to their specific needs. And things like bank reconciliation, it's now much faster, and also processing and daily operations, they're saving between 15 and 20% time-wise. And the asset module, he finds it very beneficial because it saves them a few hours, to reconcile back to the asset register. And in the past, it was easy to make a mistake, but currently it's very quick just to do the depreciation on all fixed assets. So basically, in a nutshell, that was my presentation, and very briefly, how we develop and who we are. So we are part of 1C Company, and 1C Company is a network of global partners. There are over 10,000 partners worldwide. And 1C Enterprise Platform is basically a software development platform. And for customers, it means security, data accessibility, data integrity, all of that. And also the fact that all solutions are cloud-based. There are also possibilities to have on-premise solutions and mobile solutions. And if we speak in terms of users, it's more than 5 million users who use the platform, and 17 languages basically. So people work with this platform who speak 17 different languages. And finally, last year, this platform it won an award by the Gartner Software Advisory. And basically, it was competing with various software systems, and based on customers' feedback, it has become the 2020 front runner. So that is my presentation in a nutshell. And perhaps if you have questions or if you have any feedback, that would be great to hear what you thought of it.
And I guess it's, I have worked with the Google Suite and Google Classroom on a very entry level before. So it's very nice to see that there's been some development since I've worked on it previously. Maybe just the cost for setting up something like this.
Perhaps maybe what would be, if it works for you, maybe we could just have a discussion outside of this forum, and just to understand a little bit better your requirements, where you're at right now, and we can just take it from there. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, that would work. I have some other role players that I would like to join on that discussion as well from the college. So if we can set that up, say by Thursday or Friday, or maybe early next week. We're just busy with student registrations at the moment, so everyone's running around a bit.
Okay, I understand. I'm just gonna look quickly. So if we say next Monday?
Next Monday will work fine, thanks.
Okay, I see next Monday, the 22nd, is actually a public holiday. It's Human Rights Day.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
So then maybe Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning is fine.
Say 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock is perfect.
Okay, so perhaps maybe then I will send you an invitation, and if you could maybe just let me know what other stakeholders from your side I should include, I can just add them to the invitation. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Maybe can I ask for your email address, then I can send that through via email, if possible? Or can I just ask Marjorie to contact you?
Sure, I can give you my email address. I'm just going to put it in my chat, in the chat box.
Yeah, I can get in the chat, it's fine.
Okay, can you see it? So you should see it in the chat window.
I see it, yes.
All right.
So I'm going to copy it there. Okay, I will. I will speak to the guys, and then as soon as you've got the, I will speak to them and see how soon we can get everyone on board, and I'll send the email addresses through to you for the invite.
All right. Okay, sure, no problem. Okay, and then just from our partners, so we also have Examus team present today, and they were going to present briefly on their AI proctoring solution. So perhaps if you could just introduce yourself and just share a little bit in terms of what you guys do and what you offer.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Anna. Well, dear Dion, thank you in the first place for your time today. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present Examus to you. So I'm Elena, and I'm BDM at Examus Proctoring Solution. So if Anna has just talked about how you can optimize and how you can simplify the accounting tasks, we offer our solution of how to simplify and optimize and how to give more integrity to online assessment. So let me please share my screen as well. Oops, and it turns out that I'm not allowed. Would you please give me the permission to share my screen?
Yes, it should work now.
Okay, just a second. Yes, looks like it works. So. Would you tell me if my screen is visible?
I can see it.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. So Yep. Well, Dion, please feel free to interrupt me anytime, or yeah, we can also leave the questions to the end of the presentation. It is up to you. So I think I would abstain from giving too large introductions. So we are Examus, and we are an internationally running company, which provides new generation AI-based proctoring solutions for online education. So basically, proctoring is a tool that gives you the opportunity to control, to monitor what your test takers or online learners are doing at their side while they are taking your assessment. And yeah, the other term for proctoring is invigilation. Maybe, well, you would prefer this one. It is the same. So Examus produces online proctoring solutions that would fit any kind of company and any kind of education institution. So right now we are working with corporate structures, enterprise structures, but our main focus is still on education. So if I introduce you how Examus works, that is basically the following principle. Our AI gets the information from the student's camera and microphone and from their desktop. So it captures both sources, and then it analyzes it using computer vision and AI algorithms. Then this information gets to the end user, who are the exam organizers or the proctors, in the form of recordings and reports. I will show you in a bit how it looks like. So Examus uses an open API technology, which gives us absolute flexibility and which lets us integrate with most of the widely used learning management systems and assessment systems. The examples are here on the left. So we have full integration with Moodle, which might be of interest to you because you mentioned that you are currently using Moodle for your online assessment. And basically, yeah, for your as a solution for your online learning. So Examus has full integration with Moodle, which allows to set up a fully running system in just a couple of hours. And it gives it is absolutely scalable, so you can introduce Examus into your Moodle, so to say, and set it up and running in a very quick way, I would say. And we also work with multiple other solutions. So actually it's up for our customers to decide. And we can either integrate them, yeah, or we can give them our open API key so that they would integrate us into their framework, yeah. And for the corporate sector, for the enterprise sector, we even offer our solution to be deployed right into their infrastructure. So just because we also work with a large amount of cloud-based solutions, for example, the examples are here on the right. So as for the features, I think I should start with the foundation of our technology, which is a cyber proctor. This is what we call our AI. This is the patented technology, which provides us the opportunity to detect the user's behaviors during the online assessment. So right here on this slide, you can see what the cyber proctor is basically used for. So it is used for user identification. Starting from April, it will also be possible for us to do this using biometrics. So Examus will be able to integrate with your educational institution's database or the national database if you have such. Yeah, and it can do the user identification not only against their student card, for example, but also against the database information that is stored in your education institution profile, for example. So the AI is also used to prevent cheating attempts. Just in a while, I'll deal with it in particular. It can be used to aggregate data that the human proctor, the human invigilator can revisit and can review after the exam. And it is also used to measure the probability of cheating, which is basically what our solution works well for. So in terms of the AI proctoring features, here is what it can detect. All these behaviors are captured and are recorded in the system in the form of so-called AI alerts. So the AI alerts are created, for instance, if the test taker looks away from the screen, so it does gaze detection. It does microphone voice detection, yeah, and so if your students are not doing an oral exam, so if they are not allowed to talk while they are passing the assessment, then the speech detection will also be recorded. It can detect tab change and if the user is trying to access some prohibited software, for instance. It can detect secondary display plugging in or smartphone usage and earphone usage. So all those specific cheating behaviors, which are mostly used by the students. It can also detect the absence of the person, or if there are, for instance, two people in the video frame. So this can prevent you from some outside help during the exam. And as I just noted, yeah, it is also used for person identification, and basically it has also the face recognition algorithms. So our AI is quite powerful, and I would say it is very sensitive. So it can detect multiple events in I would say in a very minute period of time. But as you can understand, yeah, no AI can be perfect. And if you only use your AI to make final decision on assessment, then it can let you down. For instance, I always recall this funny accident when a student was wearing a t-shirt which had a huge picture, a very particular picture of an actor or some politician on it. Yeah? And the AI kept detecting this face on the t-shirt as an authorized person. Yeah? And this student would get a D for an exam, yeah, if it were not for the human interference after the exam, so to say. So, and so as to monitor the AI behavior, we have several proctoring options. So the first type of proctoring is called real-time proctoring, which consists in the AI creating alerts on the user behavior and doing full exam recording in the form of video and audio capturing and the desktop capturing. At the same time, the users are being watched by human invigilators, and this happens right during the exam procedure. So the reason why we recommend real-time proctoring only for high-stake exams is that, as you can understand, this kind of proctoring is very resource consuming, both in terms of staff, because you need to have your own proctors, or you need to outsource a professional proctoring team, for instance. We have such as a separate service, yeah, but mostly our customers prefer to train their own proctors. So you need to train your own proctors, you need to provide guidance for them, yeah. Internet connection is good enough so as to support this kind of real-time monitoring of the exam, yeah, by a separate proctor team. And finally, your proctors, yeah, well, in most cases, you cannot provide just enough proctors so as to monitor one student individually, yeah. So in most cases, as you can see it here on the screen, this is the monitor, this is the interface, excuse me, for the real-time proctoring. One proctor should be able to monitor, well, at least up to 8 or 9 students at the same time, looking at their faces and what they are doing, yeah, right in front of the camera, and also watching what they're doing on their desktop. And also watching here what the AI says them. So what the AI, which alerts the AI algorithms create during the exam time. So the real-time proctoring, yeah, is a powerful thing, but probably it is not the universal thing to be used in all exam cases. The compromise is the so-called post-review proctoring, which is now offered in 2 options. And so from my experience in working with the African customers, they are quite interested in both of them. So with general post-review proctoring, the difference is that you have the AI creating alerts and doing the exam recording. And this recording is being revisited and reassessed, so to say, by a human proctor who goes to the video archive after the exam and who controls and who checks basically all the AI alerts. As you can see here, yeah, they are in pink. So the human proctor revisits the alerts created by AI proctor, and they can either confirm them or they can ignore them. Yeah, if, for instance, the event that was detected was not a real exam rules violation. So this is the traditional, so to say, post-review proctoring, and specifically for those areas where our customers are having challenges with internet connection, bandwidth problems, and all these kind of technical troubles. Yeah, we also have the so-called internet saving post-review proctoring, or as I prefer to call it, cheat capture mode. The difference is that the exam is not fully recorded in the video plus audio format, yeah, but instead the AI gets multiple screenshots of the user behavior. Well, these are specifically tied to the alerts, as you can understand, yeah. But what the human proctor gets after the exam is they get multiple images of the person while they were taking the exam, yeah, and they make their final assessment in the same way, but not based on the full recording, but based on these multiple pictures. This internet saving mode, of course, is more fail-proof, yeah, if your internet connection breaks right during the exam. But again, yeah, just because I always make this point for those customers, yeah, who face those internet connection problems nationwide sometimes. So we also have a kind of solution for a poor internet connection with traditional post review as well, because when the AI algorithm is watching your student, yeah, and when the recording of the exam is performed, we can, so to say, yeah, even if your connection breaks unexpectedly during the exam time, yeah, we can still record and we can still hold the recording during 15 minutes. So if the connection is back within 15 minutes, yeah, then nothing is lost, yeah, and the recording will be fully preserved, and well, this will not affect the overall results, so to say, of the exam. So if the connection drops for less than 15 minutes, it is still okay with us, and sometimes this really helps. Yeah? So, but if well, the connection is very much unstable, then probably the internet saving mode is what you're looking for. And let me just announce that in a couple of weeks, very soon, we are going to introduce our mobile app, because generally our technology was desktop based. So in mobile app, you will have something closer to the post-review proctoring mode. So you will have AI alerts, of course, with some exceptions, which are due to the mobile architecture restrictions. For instance, if you have Android devices, then you can do both desktop, or better say mobile screen, yeah, plus webcam video capturing. But with Apple devices, for instance, you cannot have that, both of them, yeah. So it will largely depend on the mobile software, mobile hardware that you use, yeah. So with mobile app, you will have lockdown features, which means that the user will not be able to access phone calls and messages and other applications in their mobile while they are taking the test. And I believe that for now, well, I will not go into details with the mobile app. So if you're interested, I can give you more information just after the app is released. And so right now it's in the final staging, final testing stage. So actually in a couple of weeks, yeah, it will already be available in the stores. I mean, app stores, yeah. So these are the general proctoring types. May I pause right now and ask if you have any questions, or I can give you some little bit of further information?
No, that's excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
I know that we have been looking at this kind of solution and what's encouraging is the fact that it's that you can plug it into Moodle. So I will definitely discuss that with the examination department.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Well, just by way of continuation, I think I will not take no more than 7 minutes of your time. Okay. So let me also share some usability, or better say interface advantages of Examus. So first of all, and basically this is one of our strongest points with Moodle, Examus exam, excuse me for this kind of tautology. So if you have a proctoring exam with Examus, this procedure is practically seamless for the students because they do not have to install any other alien software which they might feel against. And they do not have to use any specific additional credentials. So they just log into their usual platform using their standard Moodle credentials. They find the required tests, they click the link to the Examus exam. They go through the exam rules, do the system check, take their photo and the photo of their ID if you need it to be a two-step identification. Then they need to show their working area, and then they proceed to the test. So basically these 3 steps, which you can see here on the right, are this kind of confirmation that they are logging in to an exam, to a proctored exam. So they do first the quick look through the exam rules, then they do the system check, which can also and which should also be done in advance, because we do understand that it is not right for the student to check their hardware and software just before they start the test. So we provide trial exam links at least 1 day before the real exam, so they can check it before. And right now you can also check your the compatibility of your hardware and software right on our website. So actually this can be done anytime in advance. So then they do this kind of user identification, and the difference between real-time and post-review proctoring would be that with real-time, it would be the real-time proctor, the human proctor, who would let them into the exam if they confirm that this is the same student. And with post-review proctoring, this is just done automatically. So they automatically proceed to the test. Well, I think I will not go into details right here. So we'd better arrange a demo, of how Examus works with you and with your colleagues at the time which is convenient to you. So after the exam is finished, you can go as a proctor, or as an exam administrator, you can go to the administrative interface, you can go to the dashboard. This is an example of our dashboard interface, and you can generate reports for the exam, a specific exam, or for a large number of exams that have that your students have been passing in a daytime or in a week time. So here you can see an example of the Excel report where you have multiple sessions. And here on the right, let me zoom in. Here is an example of an individual exam report. So as you can see, this is your proof. This is your 100% proof for the student if they have an argument with you after the exam is finished and after they have been caught cheating. So right here, you can see all the events, all the alerts created by the cyber proctor, and let's assume that it is already a tutor review, so they have been reviewed by a human proctor. And you can agree, I suppose, that, well, it is not only important to capture the alerts and to capture the violations, but it also matters for how long these violations have been taking place. So in this case, we have duration for each type of violation. So for instance, you might agree, that sometimes the student might just look away once, because somebody distracted their attention. But if they were looking away for 5 minutes, then perhaps this is a very serious, this can be a case of very serious break of exam rules. So that is why violations is also a good instrument for you as an exam organizer to decide whether or not the exam rules were breached. And unfortunately, I do not have the example of cheating score here, but we also, yeah, you can see it right here. Yeah, we also have very powerful instrument, which is called the cheating score formula, which can be adjusted to any type of exam and specifically to your exam policies, to your assessment policies. So you can set the threshold level with this line, yeah, represented by this line on the scale, which would be this kind of divide between pass and not pass, yeah. And the number of violations that a student might have will be calculated in terms of this kind of cheating score, yeah. If it's 100, well, this is like 100% a cheater, I would say. So, but this exam score, yeah, is very adjustable. And what is important is that this exam score is first calculated based on AI alerts. So it is based on what the cyber proctor has detected. But then when the human invigilator, the human proctor, makes the final decision assessment, this cheating score is automatically recalculated based on whether or not, yeah, they figure out that this event was the breach of rules or not. And just to finalize my presentation, let me share some of our product policies, which are a big buy, so to say, yeah, for most of our customers. So first of all, we always use the try before buy policy, which means that we provide trial exams and we are totally for pilot projects, for running pilot projects with our customers. So I think this needs to be discussed in detail. Yeah. So if you need at the pilot period, for instance, with our mobile app, yeah, then it should be agreed upon. But we value and we appreciate, yeah, for our customers to first try, yeah, the solution before they actually integrate it into their online learning process. Then our second policy is that we always provide exam retakes and second tries uncharged, because first of all, sometimes it might not be the user's fault, yeah, that the exam was not completed. For instance, yeah, there was this kind of break in the internet connection. So that is why we always recommend our customers to give everyone a second chance. And well, this would be absolutely uncharged for our customers as an institution. The third rule is that scalability works both ways, which means that for us, we do not really pay attention whether the project is too big or too small. So what we can do is we can support from 25 to 25,000 exam takers. Well, this particular refers to post-review mode. So we can do both large and big projects. Yeah, so it depends. Well, it really depends on what our customers' requirements are. We have flexible pricing options. I think I will not cover them in this presentation. It actually depends on a lot of factors and a lot of parameters. So we'd better discuss it again with you and with your colleagues, perhaps during a demo. And we also allocate customer support and we provide guidance just before and during the exams. For instance, we can provide tutorship and training for your proctors if you want real-time proctoring exams. And of course, we provide customer support during the exam period, and we provide fully translated, localized guides and also our knowledge-based, both for the customers' employees and for the users. And which is the last thing, which is important specifically for such regions as Middle East and for some parts of Europe as well. We have full respect and account for culture-sensitive aspects and for privacy regulations that are entailed in the region. So if you have any concerns, specific concerns for your users, then you will be 100% sure that Examus will look into it, and this will be decided before we run into any kind of argument. Yeah, and so even before the agreement is signed. So I think that, yeah, I can go into more details for our advantages in terms of features, but I think it would be more reasonable for me to provide you with this presentation so that you could share it with your colleagues, and probably, yeah, if we could schedule our next meeting somewhere, yeah, next week, then probably you might have some specific questions based on this presentation, and I could share more information with you in document form or during this kind of e-meeting. So I think here is where I stop right now. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. So if